And when you talk about believe, I'm going to give you I brought you our challenge coin, believe challenge coin.
Oh, that's a different one.
Yeah, it's a different one for my detentions team for this year.
This is nice.
So we're all about the believe. We have the believe signs up in my office, and that's our team motto for this year.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Laidler, your host of the LEO First podcast. Today we're at the FBI Leader Conference in San Antonio, Texas, and I'm not going to edit out that, I promise you. Right now I'm here with my friend, LinkedIn buddy, and my current photographer of the day, which he helped me out during my session, Matt Davis. If you guys know, one of the best parts about the LEO First podcast is our goal is to humanize the badge as well as show lights of people from all across the country, all across the world, because you guys hear me a lot, and I understand that. But when you hear people that I have met and people that I start to admire, I want you guys to hear their stories as well. And that's something that Matt's been able to do with me ever since I met him on LinkedIn. He's taken this social media game to another level. He's learning and growing, and I just appreciate everything that I've seen you doing already, Matt. So for the audience, and so we can start talking about you, tell us about you.
Well, my name is Matt Davis. I'm currently a lieutenant in our detention facility at the Arapahoe County Jail, and been at the Sheriff's Office with the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office for 13 years. And I've been able to work everything from patrol to investigations to our special investigations. Mm-hmm. And I was a sergeant for a little over 5 years, and now I've been a lieutenant for about a year. And I'm super passionate about being a transformational leader within my organization, and bringing high trust environments to the teammates that I get to deal with on a daily basis.
So it's funny, and people know questions just pop in my head all the time because that's just how my brain works. You talked about transformational leadership. I heard that phrase, and it's an amazing phrase. It's definitely a term that I think all leaders should have in them. How did you get to that point? Because obviously it's a big concept, but how did you finally say, hey, you know what, this is what I'm gonna, this is the kind of leader I want to be?
It turned out in my personal life, my bucket got full of doing this job for 13 years. Your bucket gets full with a lot of things. I had to reach out for professional help. Mm-hmm. And during that time, I really found who the authentic Matt Davis was. And as I started going through that journey, leadership became a passion for me, because I want people to be able to lead themselves in a real authentic way, to be the leader that they want to be. Like we talked about earlier, you talked about not having mentors and sort of making that space where you can become a mentor.
Correct.
I was tired of being that guy that was blaming everybody else for not being my mentor, and I wanted to go out and be the mentor that I always wanted to be.
It's amazing what life experience can do for you. Mm-hmm. And seeking, like you said, professional help and accepting what you hear from professional help, because I know I get professional help all the time. I love it. I talk about it on my podcast and the other podcasts. I love it. I love what it does for Michael Laidler, like how it sounds like it's done for Matt Davis. When you hear yourself going into things like professional therapy, professional counseling, how do you believe being in that role now as a leader, taking professional therapy, how do you think that impacts the people around you? Because I know sometimes we talk about leading by example. Mm-hmm. It's easy for someone, let's say a chief of police, to say, oh, I believe in mental wellness programs, but they've never been in one. Yes. So now, since you've actually experienced it, how much more have you been able to drive that point home, because you're part of that?
For me, it was not doing the blame game for everybody else. I was in control of myself. Mm-hmm. And because of the toxic relationship I had with myself for many years, I had I was my own worst enemy. When a mistake happened, when I did a mistake at work or in my personal life, it would very much magnify, because what was going on between these two ears was very negative talk. Mm-hmm. And I want people to be able to live their why, and be able to go out there and be the authentic self that they're going to be, and know that there's not going to be, I'm wanting to give curiosity back to the people that are my teammates, not judgment because it's so much different, because they're different. when you look at an equation like 2 plus 2 is 4, well, 7 minus 3 is 4. There are many
Multiple
other ways,
Yeah.
there are many ways to get to 4. And I think that's important, and I think that's a lot of times in our career field, we're just doing leadership like it's always been done. And with new people getting into law enforcement, it's very challenging place because they're going to ask why.
They are.
And we're going to need to have a better answer than we're doing it just because this is the way my lieutenant acted with me 10 years ago or
Correct.
5 years ago, or we need to change. Times are changing, we need to change. And I've really reached out and been more purposeful with the people that are on my team to be able to reach out, and I've been asking them 4 questions. What's their why? How do they define trust?
Trust is important.
What are their goals? And what can I do for them? How can I help them? And it's been very interesting with the newer deputies that have been hired in the last few years. I get the response that they came to law enforcement because of what they saw on the news and the negativity about law enforcement, and they see the incidences like that happened in Minnesota, and they come forward and say, I want to be a good person in law enforcement. So, and there are a lot of people coming from other cultures, other backgrounds, from Europe. We have people that have immigrated from Europe that are on our team, people that have immigrated from Africa and from the Caribbean, all over the place. So it's very diverse. I'm very lucky to have a very diverse team of people that I work with on a daily basis.
You talked about your 4 questions. How did you come up with those?
Well, I just looked at what the current. Well, I'm a big fan of Simon Sinek, and
I heard you talking about the why, so I
right.
kind of knew.
So I'm a
finding your
big,
why.
I'm a big Simon Sinek person. So I've read most of his books, and it all is about about the why. So that's where I came up with the why question. The trust question is, I was recently doing some research about why people are leaving companies and the Great Resignation and all that stuff going on. And a lot of times trust is coming up over and over and over in these organizations. When people are leaving, they're asking, they don't feel like they're trusted, that there's a high level of trust. Also, personally, for me, part of my bucket getting full was I felt like the public didn't trust me to do my job as a law enforcement officer.
Wow. That's tough, yeah, because that's one of the big things is trust.
Big thing.
Yeah.
So trust, when I started asking, and I asked over 50 teammates, and I got a different definition from each of the 50. And so really it comes down to just being authentic, right? They just want to know that they're working authentically with another person. Just like we're sitting here now, I'm taking you for who you are right here and now in the moment. And we know we've all gone through the same thing, police academy, all the different trainings.
Correct.
If we had to jump in and take somebody into custody, I feel completely capable. I know that
Appreciate
you and I could do that, right?
Yeah, we have at least one foundation.
Correct.
Yes.
And in law enforcement, we have that because we know our partners are going to come to our rescue if there's a hot call or something like that. But a lot of times we don't give them the same respect back, and it becomes an issue within a team dynamic. So that's where I came up with the trust. The other thing is a lot of what I'm doing now, and if anybody follows me on LinkedIn, they'll see I'm very proud of talking about my education. And it's ironic that we're here at the LEADA conference because my first LEADA conference when I came in 2020, I found out very quickly that I needed to upgrade my education.
Because there's a lot out there. There's a lot everywhere, yes. Especially conferences like this.
Correct. I needed to go out and not just seek more stuff about law enforcement leadership, but I needed to look at my scholarship so far as a human being. And I was lacking, like I'm sure a lot of the people that are listening to us all have various, they might have only the 60 credit hours, the 90 credit hours. They don't have a degree. So I really made it a concerted effort to go back to school. So I'm currently in school, and you'll see me post a lot about that. And I'm going to be pursuing my master's degree in leadership here in the coming couple of years. So I'm very excited about that. I'm finding new things all the time about different theories. So goal setting is important. I want to set goals. I want to see my goals live out, and I think that's an important thing. And you get to know a little bit more about people's why when they talk about their goal settings and see where they're going.
Yeah, because people have goals all over the place, which is
Correct.
good, which is fine. And they don't have to be ours. I tell people all the time, just because you have your goals, I don't have to have the same ones. But I'm going to support them. That's why I ask you about them.
Yes. And that's the other thing about being a teammate. If someone comes to me and says, my goal is I'm looking to pursue a higher degree at some university and I'm going to be applying for their police department. Great. Let me help you with that. Maybe I know someone from LIDA, or maybe I can reach out to Michael and say, hey, Michael, do you know anybody at this university that I could help my teammate get a one-on-one with and see if they're a style matchup and see if that works for their organization to become a member. I'm just all about positivity now in my life, Michael, and that's where I'm trying to push people to make positive goals, and goals shouldn't be a hindrance. They should be something that we look at and say, I'm damn glad I got that taken care of, and I should be proud of myself and pat myself on the back.
In this environment, it's easy to take the negative route because I tell people, if you've ever been in any level of law enforcement, whether it's Border Patrol, corrections, police, you're not really in a welcome environment. People don't either want to be there with you or they don't really want you there. So you're already usually playing behind the ball your entire job. I told people I never really been invited to people's Thanksgiving, dinner parties, the baby showers. It's like, oh, we had an issue, now we're inviting you. Right. So for you to have this level of positivity, I think it's refreshing, because it's tough to have that, especially as you get further in law enforcement, you see different things. So for me, when I see it in you, it's impressive. And you're right, I've seen your education posts. I've just seen the positivity, you being here today. I even saw that post. It's like, you just have this aura that says, okay, I'm gonna keep it positive. But it's good because people need that. Yes. We need that constant push that allows us to believe that we can be happy even in the worst times. So the fact that you're doing it already is important.
Right. And when you talk about believe, I'm going to give you I brought you our challenge coin, Believe challenge coin.
Oh, that's a different one.
Yeah, it's a different one for my detentions team for this year.
This is nice.
So we're all about the Believe. We have the Believe signs up in my office, and that's our team motto for this year. So we're trying to believe that it's a more positive place and we can build the trusting environment that we want to work in on a daily basis. So inspired by Ted Lasso, I got to give that out.
People, if you see my presentation, they're like, "Oh yeah, Michael uses Ted Lasso." I
Correct.
Like it.
I know you like Ted Lasso. Also, I'm just out there trying to connect with other leaders. And you saw my book club. I'm currently doing the book club with Ted Lasso, season 1, but also did Simon Sinek, Leaders Eat Last. Yeah. I'm just trying to get out there and find other people that sort of jive with me. And I know I'm not gonna it might not be a style matchup for some people, but if people feel like they want to connect with me, I just love to be able to connect with them and root them on, cheer them on, give them some advice if they need advice, if they ask for it, or we can just be great partners in whatever we're doing and whatever kind of positive things we're doing.
You can't impact everybody, but as long as you impact somebody, that's the important side. And I think sometimes as leaders, as people that just want to be positive, when we don't hit everybody, we get discouraged. But you can't get discouraged. You have to continuously believe that you can make things better just by trying. And you just know over time, like what I've seen you're doing already, it's just creating that culture of a positivity, happiness, change in a good way.
Yes.
But if you go in there thinking, oh, if I don't get 100% buy-in, I can't do it. You're gonna put yourself in a non-winnable situation.
Yes.
If you can just impact one person, you help them stay in their life a little bit longer. You help them not become an alcoholic or become a drug user because of your positivity, then you're winning.
Correct. You're 100%. Like when you said that it just takes that one person. When I look at like the crowd you talked to today, if you can just affect one person in that crowd, they can go out and affect another person, and that's where that effective change. And a lot of things you and I talk about in our leadership styles is very countercultural to law enforcement and how it's been done in the past, and that's just a thing that we need to continue to work toward.
Yeah, and it's important. So you mentioned earlier about working with people. If someone was looking for you, how could they find you?
Well, on LinkedIn.
You're definitely
I'm on LinkedIn.
You're definitely
Matt
on LinkedIn.
Davis on LinkedIn.
Yes.
Please join me there. I love engaging with other people. We're doing the book club, of course. Anybody can join at any time.
And they can join through LinkedIn.
If you just DM me on LinkedIn,
Okay.
we'll get you the Google Meetup to be able to do that. We've got a really engaging group of people from city managers to fire chiefs to people that don't work in any kind of municipal government. They're just out there, and we got people that first time they're watching Ted Lasso, so it's amazing
Yes.
for them to come back and look at that. And it's just great to talk to other leaders that are looking to try to inspire and transform themselves and then help people live their authentic life. My big slogan is unearth the true boldness within. And I want to just keep living down that road to be able to do that. So if anybody feels like they align with that, please get a hold of me on LinkedIn. I'd love to connect with you and see if we can, what I can do to support you reaching your goals.
Yeah, and that's important. It's that's what I love about this show and this podcast, that I want people to always know there's more options. Obviously, if you're looking for one, it's me. Obviously, you're watching this, but I want people to know there's other good people out here that just want to help. So with all that in mind, what are some final words you have?
The final words are, be willing to be your authentic self and stop listening to your inner voice that says you're not enough. And challenge yourself to build the trust with yourself, and don't let that toxic relationship continue to go on with yourself. Like, that would be my encouragement to other law enforcement people out there. I know that we always see people on the very worst day, and we need to expect more out of ourselves. And don't be afraid to be your authentic self is really where I would end the conversation, of just saying that that's really what I'm trying to put people in a place where they can be their authentic self and live the life that they want to live.
Man, that inner voice is sometimes the hardest thing to control, but as you grow through trainings and you develop yourself, to me personally, you can control it because you learn more about yourself. Obviously, I talk about self-awareness, so obviously I'm all about that. But a lot of us are talking ourselves out of being better.
Right.
Nobody else is. We are.
Correct.
And if I always tell people, if you can control anything, it's you. So why, if I tell you that, you say, well, I'm listening to this person, that person. You can't control them, so don't let them control you. So
Correct.
You're right. That inner voice is so important to be able to handle because it goes a far way.
Right. If we can decide if we can really figure out what's in that control circle for us, that's huge. What we're putting our time and effort toward, our thoughts, our time. Sometimes you need to say no, and I know that you say that a lot. And being able to draw those boundaries and understand what's important to me might not be important to you.
Correct.
But that doesn't mean that we can't be friends and can't support each other. If you say no, you got a reason for saying no.
Correct.
If you said no and then I go home and think, oh, Michael didn't like me, Michael didn't like the shoes I wore, Michael didn't like all that kind of stuff, that's just not what's reality. You just simply said no because you weren't available.
Correct.
So we need to just be better at that.
Yeah.
And just live in our authentic selves.
Sometimes it needs to be just like that.
Yes.
Well, you folks have heard it from Matt Davis. 4 questions, find them on LinkedIn, and check your inner voice. With those things, just those simple things in mind, you can learn so much about yourself. I like his style because it's very simple like mine, but it's informative and it's real. You don't have to overthink the process of growing yourself. And I think sometimes we see things and we're like, this is too overwhelming. It doesn't have to be. Start with things that are simple to what you can do. And as you move forward, as you develop, that's how you grow. Thank you for watching the LEO First podcast, the in-person version. If you haven't had a chance, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube page and follow Matt, follow myself if you're not following me for some reason, because we want to keep sharing these stories, these experiences, and this information with you, because if we just wanted to keep it to ourselves, we wouldn't tell you, because that would be an easy route to do. But we want to take the time, even when we're in a place like San Antonio, to share these moments with you to help grow you, build you, cultivate. And hopefully one day you can do the same for that other person, whether they're winning or losing. You can just be there with some data. So thanks again, Matt. Appreciate it. I will definitely be excited about this challenge going. Like I said, this is definitely a unique one, and it's cool. I like it a lot. But thank you for being a guest, and hopefully anything we can do for you in the future, we will.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Michael. I appreciate being here.
Thank you. Guys, have a great day.